I think one of the unique things about the ministry of IRTV is the humanitarian outreach to the children's prisons in Russia.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know that they exist. Could you briefly just tell us about how we got involved in that kind of ministry?
When we did our first megacity campaign in the city of Volgograd, formerly known as Stalingrad, we were introduced to a children's prison camp in that area. When I first stepped inside the confines and the walls of a children's prison camp in Russia, my eyes just opened up and I said, wow, what's this all about? What are these kids here for? I mean, hundreds of kids in prison. I'm talking about prisons where you have barbed wire surrounding along the huge concrete walls. You have guard shacks with armed guards. You have dogs guarding the area like it's a prison camp. What have these kids done to deserve this? And so that was my first exposure. And then after that, we found out that there are 64 children's prison camps with 18,000 kids in prison officially in Russia today. Every Christmas we have sent in, supplies. We have bought winter clothing, warm winter clothes, winter jackets, pants, socks, gloves, hats, you name it, plus sanitary supplies, soap, shampoo, and stuff like that, plus textbooks for the kids. We have done that for the last few years, administering to these 18,000 boys in prison camps in Russia. This past Christmas, I found out that that's not the whole story. And we figure that there's another 64, if not even 100 of these other facilities that nobody counts and nobody knows about, where there are probably another 20 to 40,000 boys.
What has struck me about this is that because of the humanitarian aid, now we're able to actually go in and preach the gospel to these boys.
Yeah. We have seen hundreds and hundreds of boys make decisions for Jesus. And I remember at one invitation, 100 boys, they just fell onto the floors, onto their knees. It was a wooden floor onto their knees, 100 boys. As we led them into the prayer, the prayer of repentance, these little boys. And there were tears in my eyes as I listened to these little guys crying out to God, give me a new life, give me a new start.
And this is probably for most of them the only time they've ever heard the gospel of Jesus Christ.
No, they will not have heard the gospel otherwise. There's no way. The prison authorities themselves need Jesus.
Most of these children, where have they come from?
They come from broken homes. There are an estimated 4 million kids on the streets of Russia today. And that tells you of 4 million homes that are broken, where the families are dysfunctional. Mothers and fathers are not there. Fathers drunk, mothers out with other men or whatever. So when the kid has nothing to eat, the kid goes out onto the street, finds his food, sometimes, and that involve a crime in order to fill his stomach. The problem in the beginning was the mother and the father. It wasn't the kid. The kid suffers. Yes, we deal with the kids, but we also deal with the families, the mothers and fathers. We tell them that God can also give you the power to change, to live a happy family life.
And it's so wonderful that because of our influence in these prisons, now the door is open for local churches in those same cities to continue to have influence in those prison camps where we can't be every week, but they can go in and begin to mentor these children. What a thrill.
Correct. There's no way that we in this ministry could be in dozens of children's prison camps at the same time all over Russia. It's just not possible. That's why there are partnering churches and partnering ministries. Most of the time it's the churches in that given city. They are there right on site and they're able to visit them frequently and minister to the boys.
Well, thank you, Hanuhaka, for your time today.
Well, thanks, Dave, and please pray for Russia. When you bow your heads in prayer over the evening meal or before you go to bed tonight, if you would remember us, we will be ever so grateful.
Amen.